welcome back to the channel and to another list spam for the mid-war Hungarians. So this is using dynamic points as it is in 2024. Before you ask, I'm not doing them all again for everyone else, because that means I'm going to be having to do all these nations every year. And well, if they do late war, they'll have to do it with that. So I'm just sticking with these ones for 2024 with the Romanians following on. So we got 8 formations from the book, which is nice. And then we'll have a little look at what you can build from the cards, and of course we'll have a look at the units and the support units I used, and that's about it. So all of them are 100 points generally, with an attack and offensive mindset. So let's get started. So before we start looking at the list, let's give a shout out to Firestorm Games. So there is a link in the description that will take you straight through to their website. They have an excellent stock range, and they have a discount across all their products as well. So by clicking my link, you'll help support me and the channel, and by using Firestorm Games, you'll have a fast, reliable service that has excellent customer service. But please don't buy up all the Hungarians, because I'm struggling enough to compete with all the other people buying them as well. So if you click the link and have used it already, thank you, and everyone else who's going to, thank you as well. First formation is a T-38 tank company. So we have 2 T-38s in the HQ, and then we have a total of 9 across 2 different units. We have some Panzer IVs that are upgraded to long barrels, so quite decent for mid-war, and 3 Toldies. So everything, you know, if it's a light tank, has gone up in points now. But I like to have the Toldies in the formation just to bolster it, and they also are a spearhead option. Supporting them are some assault pioneers, 100mm howitzers, some Stukas, an OP, and a huszar troop. Okay, so the T-38, careful, confident, trained, as a 3+ remount and a 3+ follow me. It is front armor 4, side 2, top 1, and this gun is only anti-tank 6 with a 4+ firepower, and it's overworked. So obviously not the greatest tank, and obviously it's gone up because in points, because it is a light tank now. So I think before 5 of them would cost you 11 points, so you'd have to look back and see how much it costs you now. But overall, mid-war should be okay. Okay, so the Toldi tank is our spearhead unit in this formation, so otherwise I would have had scout cars. So careful, confident, trained with a 3+ follow me. 1 all around for armor, and this gun is worse than the T-38, being anti-tank 5 with a firepower of 5+, but it has 2 shots moving and 3 halted, so it's basically fairly similar to the scout cars we will see. But bear in mind, if you're using this, it doesn't have the scout rule, so be aware, and it also has armored reserves if deep scattered reserves are a problem for you in your mission. Next formation is a Panzer IV heavy tank company for the Hungarians. So we have HQ of 2 upgraded to longs, then a unit of 3 which are all longs, and then another unit of 3 which are all shorts. So this kind of like the artillery section of the formation, and we also have 3 Toldies again for that spearhead option. Supporting them again as the assault pioneer platoon, 100mm howitzers, an OP, and a huszar troop. And then we have the command card, which is basically sticky bombs for mid-war. So you could give that, I suppose the best ones to have it for are the assault pioneers. Okay, so the Panzer IV in mid-war is a fairly decent tank. Careful, confident, trained with a protected armor of a 3+, and follow me of a 3+. Front armor 5, so okay, and they are heavier stuff out there. Oh no, wait a second. So the short ones can't fire a template for the Hungarians, but they do have anti-tank 9, 3+ firepower and heat. So that's interesting. So it's very similar to the Panzer III short 7.5. Sorry for the mix-up with the templates there, guys, but we just found out that together if it's your first time. And also the Panzer IV long, it's AT-10, 3+ firepower, but the main thing is it's a bit of a longer range. Well, maybe not that much better for the Hungarians, but yeah, well, we'll see. It could be better. Also, you can take Panzer IIIs, as just mentioned, so they're actually front armor 6 for the Hungarians. They either have the long 5 centimeters as anti-tank 9 but a 4+ firepower, or the 7.5 centimeter short, so drops a little bit in range, stays anti-tank 9 but has a 3+ firepower and has heat. So as I said, this card is basically sticky bombs for the Hungarians. So discard this card to give a unit, an infantry team in this unit, anti-tank 3 and a firepower of 1+ against top armor and assaults until the end of this turn. So use it wisely, because if you use it and it all goes terrible, that's the only one you've got. Okay, so a bit of a strange formation, but as I said, I'll build all the ones in the book. A Nimrod, it's an autocannon company. So we have a HQ of 1 Toldi and then 3 units of 2 Nimrods. And I think this is a maxed out formation. But if you use this formation, the main thing you're going to do is try and hide them and stop them getting killed, because there's not much to them and there's not many of them either. So be careful. Really should bolster them with a second formation. But this is what I've got in support. So again, assault pioneers, some artillery, scout cars and OP, panzer IVs, huszar troop, and some turan 2 tanks and sticky bombs again. Okay, so here I have the Nimrod, careful, confident, trained, so counterattack 6 and assault 6 because they're open topped, and the 3+ follow me. But as I said, as you can see, they're front, side 1, top 0, so you kind of want to keep them away from mostly everything. Stop them dying and you losing the game. Now, if your opponent has aircraft, they're not happy days. You've got quite a few AA shots if they're all clustered together. That is, and in terms of the AA, it's not too bad. It's anti-tank 7, so it's better than the light tank company we saw at the beginning with a 4+ firepower, and it's dedicated AA. Okay, so fourth formation is a zirnyi assault gun battery. I have a feeling this is a mid-war monster formation because you can't get this many of the long 75s even in late war. But I thought I'd make it anyway because they're actually fairly decent, I think, for mid-war. Probably why they're called mid-war monsters. So we have 1 zirnyi as the HQ, and then we have 2 units of 3, and then we also have 3 turan 2s with them in the formation. Support them with some assault pioneers again, 100mm howitzers, scout cars, an OP, and a huszar troop. Okay, so the zirnyi is aggressive, fearless, trained, counterattack 5 and assault 5. So obviously not the best against infantry, but against tanks, that's when they come into their own. So front 7 is pretty good for mid-war. Side 2, top 1, so obviously plenty of stuff can get around them, and his gun is pretty good as well. AT-11, decent range, 3+ firepower, but is forward firing. And again, a bit short on the MGs and even less so if you're moving, as you would expect from an assault gun. But against an armored opponent with these, you should do okay, I'd say. Next up, we have another Hungarian tank. It's the Turan tank company. So we have two Turan 2s in the HQ, and then we have a total of 9 Turan 2s in 3 units. So basically, yeah, you can only have them in 3s if they're the Turan 2. So Turan 1 has a 40mm, and you can have them in units of 5. And we also have 4 Toldis, basically as the spearhead option again. Backing up, we have assault pioneers, 100mm howitzers, an OP, huszar troop, and we have sticky bombs again. Okay, so the Turan tank, I kind of think of it as the Panzer III for the Hungarians. It is aggressive though. It is confident with a 3+ remount and a 3+ follow me, and it is trained. Front armor 5 is okay, side 2 not so good, top 1, well, pretty much all the tanks are top 1 unless you're a Tiger heavier. So the Turan 1 only has a 40mm, so it's anti-tank 7 with a 4+ firepower, but the Turan 2 75 has an 89, 3+ firepower, and has heat. So it's the short 7.5 centimeter that the Panzer IIIs and the Panzer IVs in the case of the Hungarians have. So overall quite good. The only problem is they come in blister packs of 1, so there's a fairly expensive formation to build in the real world. Okay, so now let's move on to the infantry. So we have a motorised rifle company. So we have 2 SMG teams, in the HQ, and then we have 2 full platoon, not full platoons because they can become bigger. So in this case, we've got units of 7 rifle MG teams with an extra heavy machine gun and a anti-tank rifle, because otherwise they haven't got anything. 4 81mm mortars, 4 50mm guns. Backing them up, we've got 3 Marder 2s, we've got 3 scout cars, Panzer 4 longs, and 3 turan tanks, and we've got Storm over the Don for 2 points, which we'll have a look at after this. Okay, so motorised rifle platoons, fairly average infantry, but you know that's a fairly good thing. So they're careful, confident, trained. So everything's 50-50s with them, and they have a 3+ follow me, but a 3+ save. The good thing is they do, because they're rifle MG teams, they've halted rate of fire of 2, movement 1, giving them the extra machine gun just for that extra firepower. They can have a 50mm mortar, but like everything with the Hungarians so far, it doesn't fire a template, it's just overhead firing, so like the 2-inch mortar with the British. And the optional 20mm anti-tank rifle, anti-tank 5, it's not going to stop a lot of Hungarian tanks, but it's just that little threat for an assault, and obviously it will stop the scout car light tank spam, which we might not see that much of anymore, but it is there just to help, just so they have something to deal with the tank, well, light tank. In terms of dealing with tanks, I have chucked in some 50mm anti-tank platoons. So anti-tank 9, 4+ firepower, forward firing. The range is decent enough, just to help the infantry go along. They are careful, confident, trained, so not too bad. And 3+ save is also quite good as well for these light guns. And the command card Storm over the Don, so 2 points. So infantry units in this formation dig in on a roll of 3+. Now they are trained, but this 2 points covers our whole formation. So it will cover the mortars, obviously the 2 infantry platoons, and it will also cover the HQ as well. And you'd be surprised how often you roll a 3 when you need a 4, but in this case you'll probably end up rolling 2s instead. But I think for 2 points, it's kind of almost making them pioneers, like half pioneers, because it doesn't help with the minefields, but digging in with infantry is quite important. Okay, so now we're looking at a rifle company. So we have 2 SMG teams for the HQ, 2 full platoons now, so that's 10 rifle teams with a heavy machine gun and 20mm anti-tank gun, with some mortars and 40mm guns with Kern granate. Backing them up is assault pioneers, because we will see why. 4 100mm howitzers, 3 scout cars at an OP, Panzer 4 longs, 3 Turans, sticky bombs, scout ahead, and storm over the Don again. Okay, so they are aggressive, confident, green with a 3+ follow me, and that is why I have assault pioneers, because if I need to go through minefields or actually do anything, I'll need them. And of course, because they are rifle teams, they are halted and moving rate of fire of 1, and they are slow firing. So if they're moving or pinned, +1 harder to hit. But they do have the extra machine guns and the anti-tank guns to ward off any threats. Okay, with them is the 40mm anti-tank gun platoon. So aggressive, confident, green, because it's the same as these guys. So the 40mm gun, 24-inch range, anti-tank 7, 4+ firepower. But if it's firing, it's Kern granate. It's only a 10-inch range, slow firing, forward firing, but it's anti-tank 12, but with a 5+ firepower. Now these things, I've come against these in a tournament. It was the first time, and I hated them. Absolutely hated them, because all they needed to do was hit me, and if they hit me, I was pretty much bailed out already in regard, and then the firepower was just an added bonus on top of that. Okay, so scout ahead. So this unit gains scout, so teams can remain gone to ground while moving. So this goes on to one of the rifle platoons. It's just because they're aggressive and they're green. I thought attaching it to one of them would be quite useful just to get them into a reasonable good position. Remember, obviously, you could move them and then assault, and if they're still in terrain, you'd get that +1 because they're still gone to ground. I suppose it works like that. So it's 2 points. I think it's a decent upgrade for at least one of the platoons. Remember, there's 10 teams as well, so if you can keep them alive and get them into a good position, I think that's fairly decent for the points. And the final formation from the book, the Huszar Squadron. So these are cavalry. So we have 2 teams to the HQ and then 2 platoons of 7. We have 75mm mountain guns and again the Kern granates, 3 scout cars, an OP, 3 T38 tanks, 3 Panzer IVs and 3 Turan 2s, and we also have the lucky card. Okay, so the Huszar troop, it is careful, confident, trained with a 3+ follow me and a 3+ save. So obviously it's got both stats when they're mounted and dismounted as infantry. Remember, with cavalry folks, +1 to hit for all shooting, so that's for them. Move 6 inches when charging into contact. Cannot hit armoured tanks and assaults. Not concealed, and friends cannot shoot over these teams when stationary in open, and cannot occupy foxholes or buildings. And in terms of dismounting, a unit may dismount at the start of the movement step. Once dismounted, may not remount for the rest of the game and moves as infantry. Okay, and then with them was the 75mm Huszar gun battery, so careful, confident, trained with a 3+ save. They're light howitzers, they're 75mm guns, but again, it's a template. They did play a bit of havoc with me when I played against this, and Martin, who used the Huszars absolutely expertly, and I had all armor, and he basically wiped the floor with me. He did have tanks and anti-tank guns, but it was mostly cavalry, and he went on to win the tournament as well. But the fact is, he knew how to use them, and these guys, and it's the smoke barrage that helps with this unit as well. So that's the formations from the books, and now we'll have a look at the command card formation. So the Toldy Light Tank Company, so it's basically a formation of just Toldys, so a HQ of 2 with 3, and then you can have 2 to 4 platoons. And we also have the Kasaba Armored Car Company, so again it's the same deal as the Toldys, so a HQ of 3 for 2 points, and then 2 to 3 units. Might tend to see these dying out a little bit, considering the points increase with dynamic points, which I think is fair. I think we'll find light tanks and scout cars coming more into their own in early war when it comes out next year. I thought it was this year, and oh well, at least we got Pacific this year. Okay, so we also have a pioneer company, so it's all the infantry platoons cross minefields and digging on a 4+, but it's the rifle company, folks. So that's the aggressive lot. So I still would have preferred the other guys having assault pioneers back in the map. And speaking of assault pioneers, you can have a company of them. So we have a HQ of 1 and then 2 to 3 units of assault pioneers, but that's it. So no artillery in formation, but for a point, not too bad. And the final of the build formations, a motorised recon company. So it's a motorised rifle company HQ, 1 to 3 motorised rifle platoons, and 1 to 2 Kasaba armoured cars or Toldy tanks. Quite like the mix of having your scout elements in with infantry, but I do like them to have a little bit of artillery and integrated anti-tank as well. But overall, a nice little formation there. Okay, so now we can have a look at the supporting units that we had in our formation. So the Assault Pioneers, which is pretty much in every list, I think. So they're careful, confident, trained, with a 3+ follow me and a 3+ dig in, and they're pioneers, so of course they can go into minefields on a 3+. Rifle MG teams, which is good, but the main thing, these guys, they've got 2 of them in the lists I made. Flamethrowers, so obviously I think flamethrowers are great, especially with dealing with dug-in infantry. That is only 2 shots, but basically if you hit it, your opponent has to reroll their save, a successful save, and it's auto firepower. So for someone who does struggle to pass firepowers, that magical auto word is great for me. Okay, so there are other artillery available for the Hungarians, but my preferred one is the 100mm. It is aggressive, it is confident and trained, and has a 4+ save, as will most heavy artillery. So anti-tank 3+ firepower, so not bad. And the main thing is it fires a smoke bombardment. Not great when things get close, but it is brutal and has a 2+ firepower. But you'll want to kind of protect these from anything getting too close to them. Okay, so we did have some lists with the Ju-87 Stuka, so it's hit on a 5+, it's pretty fast and coming from quite high, confident and 3+ veteran. Stukas and all that fussed on because they either have bombs or they have cannons. It would be nice for them to have both, like the Allied stuff has. But if you do manage to range in on something with these and hit it, and they fail their saves, or that's it if they actually come in the first place, the firepower is 2+, so not too bad. Okay, so the Kasaba scout car was in quite a lot of the lists. So careful, confident, trained. These guys do have scout, so quite good. Obviously, counterattack, last stand, and assault isn't great because they're scout cars, and armor isn't great as well because they're scout cars. The gun is what you'd expect for a scout car, anti-tank 5 firepower 5+, but it does have 2 shots while moving. So actually fairly decent for digging out infantry, I always find, with these types of scout cars. So again, that wasn't used, but I'll bring to everyone's attention. So the short 75, so it is aggressive, confident, trained, but the gun, although it's only 24-inch range, it is anti-tank 9 with a 3+ firepower and has heat. Okay, so now our anti-tank 12 contingent. So I forgot we actually had Marder 2s in one of the formations. So we have the Marder 2. I quite like the Marders when they weren't so bloody expensive, just for the fact you have that mobility to bring an anti-tank 12 gun around somewhere. And the Marder 2 is front armor 3, so can hold its own against scout cars and light tanks. And also we have the motorized 75mm anti-tank platoon. So it's a pack 40, guys. But yeah, it's obviously your choice here is you have your mobile 8012 or your non-mobile one, and one will cost you a little bit more than the other. And that is it for mid-war Hungarians. I quite like it. I can't wait to use them. A lot of them, formation seems fairly expensive in real life to actually do because everything's in blister packs of 1 and seems to only be in stock potentially with Flames of War themselves, although it might have to back order some things. So I hope you liked it. Let me know if you would have done anything different or how you fared with mid-war Hungarians. I know, Martin, you do pretty well with your Hungarian mid-war. So stay tuned for up next. We will have the brave Romanians for mid-war using the 2024 dynamic points.